Debt has overtaken your life. Now what? Today's show is all about a guide to consumer proposals and debt relief. I'm Wayne Kay. Welcome to the Debt Matters podcast, where we help Canadians find solutions to their debt with licensed insolvency trustees from across Canada. Today we're going to learn about the options for debt relief in this country. There's consumer proposals. Why have they become such a popular option for debt relief? Now, if this sounds like something you want to do, who do you get to file this for you? Where do you get started? How do you get started? We're going to learn all about it. And is the consumer proposal the right choice in every circumstance? You'll find out today with my guest, Derek Chase from Chase & Associates, licensed insolvency trustee, serving Vancouver Island, Sunshine Coast, and the North Coast of BC. Hi, Derek.
Well, hi, Wayne. It's great to be here today.
I'm looking forward to this one because we're going to kind of continue. We've done a lot on, what debt looks like and how Canadians are doing. And today we're going to really dive into what is the right choice for Canadians in debt. I'm going to generalize here, but I can ask the question, what is the debt problem? Is it vehicles? Is it toys? Is it housing? Or is it just a combination of life and credit cards? Or can you generalize?
It is difficult to generalize. I think all those are good examples of debts that people have. You could add on lines of credit. You could add on income tax debts. Payday loans in addition to credit cards. I think the debt that's attached to an asset, like a house or a truck or a car, we would call that a secured creditor. And often those things are, those are priority things because you need to do with your place of where you live or you need your vehicle for work. Whereas some of the other debts that you mentioned would be called unsecured debts. And those are debts that don't have collateral. So oftentimes people need to reorganize their unsecured debts and they're still able to continue on paying their truck loan because of that security position that the lender has.
Right. Well, and there's a thing right there. We talk about the price of vehicles these days, and I don't know, I see more $100,000 vehicles and $80,000 vehicles around than I've ever seen before. And I've got friends who work in dealerships and they say, yeah, that's kind of an average. And I'm like, that's wild to me, spending that much.
No, I agree. It's shocking. And in addition to that, I think the length of car loans has extended to sometimes 72 months or maybe more. And
yeah,
it's an awful long time.
84 months. I know. It's 84, just wild. So let's look at, somebody knows they're in trouble because we've done a show on that. They know that the things aren't going well. And now what are the options available for debt relief in Canada?
Since you brought up these different types of debts, for debts that have a secured creditor, there are not a lot of options. And the consequences do vary from province to province. So, for example, in BC, if someone had a car and a car loan, their choices are either to continue to pay that car loan to keep the car, or if they stop and the lender repossesses the car, well, that's all they can do in BC. They can't collect for any shortfall. So in a secured loan situation, the options are minimal. It's either keep paying the loan to keep the asset, or you stop and there'll be some sort of repossession. If you switch over to unsecured debt, so, credit card debt, line of credit debt, payday loan, income tax, anything that doesn't have collateral, the amount of options opens up dramatically. And, so technically the options that are available for debt relief in Canada for unsecured debt. One option is just to go to your financial institution and look for one of their consolidation loans where they might be able to squish all the unsecured debt together if you're able to qualify. There are a variety of different, what I'd call debt management programs that are offered by different agencies and consultants and whatnot. I can't say I know a tremendous amount about those other than sometimes Not all debts are included in that. The creditors have to choose to participate. So you kind of get this mishmash of some creditors are participating, some aren't. Income tax won't participate. It's kind of a shotgun approach there. You might catch some, but not all.
Mm-hmm.
You get past that, you get into programs that the federal government has put in place to give the honest but unfortunate person a chance to reorganize their finances. And there's mainly two there. And the first one's called a consumer proposal, where you make an offer to pay back a portion of the debt over time. And then lastly, the federal bankruptcy filing is available, which can sometimes be the fastest, least expensive way to go. There's a variety of different options, and I wouldn't recommend jumping into any one of those without, first gathering some information and doing your research.
So let's talk about one of the popular options these days is the consumer proposal. Why has that become so popular across our country?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been helping people for a long time, and consumer proposals have just been very popular over the last 5 to 7 years. And I think one of the reasons is it just became more well known as an option for dealing with debts. But within the functioning of a consumer proposal, there's some very attractive things in there that are helpful.
Well, I have to interrupt you for just a second. I guess we need to explain, somebody who's just tuning in, explain what a consumer proposal is.
Yeah, a consumer proposal is something that an individual can file that gives them immediate protection from creditors. And then it's an offer or a proposal to pay back a portion of the unsecured debt over time with no interest on that unsecured debt and no collection action. So there's no phone calls, there's no letters, it's just peace and quiet.
Which sounds heavenly for anybody listening. They're like, I want that. I want that right now, because stress is almost instantly gone.
And it gets better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You see this every day.
I do. And when you can tell someone that they have, one affordable monthly payment that's going to cover off all their unsecured debt, they kind of look at you for a minute and you're like, really? And we say, yeah, no, that's the law. And so it's really designed to provide a person with relief. They're still paying back some of their debt, and maybe sometimes a pretty high percentage of that. It really varies depending upon a person's assets and their income and what they want to do. And so there's factors that go into it that really vary from person to person. You can't say you're going to pay back 25% of your debt or some specific thing without knowing the circumstances. But at the end of the day, there's one affordable monthly payment. And I think really that's the ultimate key to choosing the right path is, what does life look like next month and the month after that and the third month? Like, what does my cash flow look like? Because you do not want to get in a setting where whatever solution you choose is pressing you right to the edge of your budget. And because sure as anything, as well as I, Wayne, that life throws curveballs, and something's going to come up and you need a car repair or you need something. And all of a sudden, if that puts you in a setting where you can't make that monthly payment, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you want to have a payment that fits your budget, that still gives you room to live. And thankfully, consumer proposals typically have that. In addition to those things, as if it could get any better, when you make this consumer proposal, and the creditors agree to it, you can finish it as soon as you are able to. So if you get a raise in a year, or you something good happens in your life and you're able to finish sooner, you can do that. You don't lose control of your assets, and I think that's an underappreciated point. You keep control of what assets you have, which includes your tax refund. So
Hmm.
it's very smooth. It's a smooth process that you end up with just a one monthly payment instead of a whole bunch of payments. You're not getting collection pressure. It's more peaceful.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 financial counseling sessions that'll help you understand more about your future monthly budgeting and your future monthly finances, and even about how to invest into the future. So it sets you off on a much better path than what you were on before.
And if I want to do this, I have to talk to a licensed insolvency trustee?
That's correct.
Okay.
The only place you can file a consumer proposal is through a licensed insolvency trustee office. Licensed insolvency trustees are in every province right across Canada. And I would recommend choosing a licensed insolvency trustee that you could actually go into their office and sit down in front of them and have a chat. Obviously, there's settings where that's just not possible. We might be talking to somebody out on a commercial fishing boat or something like that. But, over the phone and through different digital means is fine, but it's just a little bit different.
So you were mentioning that with a consumer proposal, you don't end up paying the entire amount of debt back, that you actually have to kind of propose that, well, we're willing to pay this much instead of the grand total. So I'm just going to use some easy numbers. Let's say it was $10,000 and you say, okay, we'll pay $3,000. How do you figure that out? Does the government have a program that they put it on some kind of a scale to figure out how much is owed? Or is that something you, as the trustee, figures out?
Yeah, it's a trustee office that would provide the person with feedback as to what would be a viable consumer proposal. And, the lowest amount, the low bar that you have to get over is, what would the creditors recover in a bankruptcy? And once you establish that number in a consumer proposal, you want to offer more than that, because that's what gives
How much do they get in a bankruptcy?
It's hard to generalize that because, again, you have to dive into the assets and the income and, what's going on in a person's life. Irregardless, it's just not logical to offer creditors less than what they would get in a bankruptcy. Creditors would say that's crazy. I'm not going to agree to that. So you have to offer creditors a little bit more than what they would otherwise be projected to recover in a bankruptcy, and then they have an incentive to agree to it. It's like if someone owed you $100, Wayne, and they said, "Hey, I can pay you back 40 or 20. You choose."
Okay.
And,
Right.
we're all going to choose the 40. So a credit card creditor is no different than that. They're gonna choose the better recovery.
Mm-hmm. Does this then hurt you in the future, or when do you get does it affect your credit rating in a big way?
Consumer proposal definitely does touch your credit rating. I would say that for a lot of the people that we talk to, their credit rating is already pretty beat up,
right.
or pretty, hurt.
Yeah.
And, credit ratings go up and down over time. And I think that probably the more important thing is to get your finances moving in the right direction and building positive momentum rather than just sort of stalling or going negative. So credit ratings, yeah, it's an interesting thing to talk about, but what's happening overall? Are you going negative every month, or do you want to get it going positive?
Yeah. And how fast, when do you get this started? You say, okay, this is really something I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
How fast does this happen?
It can happen pretty fast. We normally like to have an initial meeting where we just go over things thoroughly and make sure people understand what all their options are and what path is right for them. And then if they decide to proceed with the consumer proposal, there's a process where we gather the information necessary to prepare documents for them to sign. So that can be as fast as a day. It can be, 4 or 5 days. It really depends on what's happening in
Oh yeah, but that's really quick. I mean, as if somebody's going through all this stress and being called and all the stuff that goes along with it, that's a major difference. 5-6 a week, that's not bad at all. And then all of a sudden you can be on to your new life. I do have a final question before I let you go. Consumer proposal, is this right for every circumstance, or do you have to kind of walk through and say, well, maybe a bankruptcy is better, or maybe there's another option?
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely not the right choice in every circumstance. Sometimes the right choice is just to remortgage your house. Other times the right choice might be to do a bankruptcy because, you know, you really don't have the resources to enter into a repayment plan. So it's important to get that feedback from the LIT office in order to make sure you are choosing that right option.
Yeah, I love it. What a great show. This is a lot of wonderful information. Hopefully people were taking notes as they were going along. And the big thing is they can get that free half-hour consultation with you at your website, bankruptcytrustebc.ca. And we're going to give that in just a moment as well. Derek, thank you very much for all this great information.
My pleasure, Wayne. Thanks for chatting.
My guest today, Derek Chase. You can learn more, or you can schedule that free consultation with Chase & Associates, licensed insolvency trustees, through their website, bankruptcytrustebc.ca. And that's it for another edition of the Debt Matters podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast from. And if you want more information, you can always check out debtmatters.ca. Thanks for listening.